Welcome to the Spiritualpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, aka Love Pixel. And in each episode, we sit down with spiritual entrepreneurs sharing their knowledge, wisdom, and tools on their path to authentic success. Let's dive in. What's up, beautiful people? This is Christian from the Successful Spiritualpreneur Podcast. And today I'm super excited to have Simone Milasas on the show. She is the founder of Joy in Business. And boy, do we need joy in business. I think a lot of people, ourselves that are entrepreneurs, are running our business with a lot of force rather than, more the feminine side of receiving, letting things come to you, etc., etc. And that is what Simone really stands for. And she's also part of a movement. It's called Access Consciousness. If you've never heard of it, look it up. It's a global movement practiced in over 176 countries. And, just a little bit about her story. One day, Simone woke up and she was crying and drowning in $187,000 of debt. And she went from that debt to becoming a multimillionaire with investments spanning a castle in Italy, an eco retreat center in Costa Rica, antique stores in Australia. So, Simone's journey really proves that transformation begins with changing yourself and especially your point of view. So welcome to the show, Simone. Super excited to have you on and excited to dive into how we can live more with more joy in business.
Yeah. Thank you, Christian. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here too.
Yes. Yeah, I think, one of the waves of the energetic waves that we're currently walking into with the age of Aquarius finally being upon us. It's like a lot of people realize that this masculine way of like pushing just doesn't work as well anymore, because people are not as easily manipulated anymore, right? They're like, I think collectively we're getting a little bit more heightened awareness of, our feelings, what feels off, what feels good. And so, your concept of joy in business is so poignant and, hits the nail on the head, so to say. So I would just, say, our audience is mainly, entrepreneurs who have some sort of spiritual inclination. So I'd really love to know how we can live with more joy in business, because when you're in it, you just forget about it. You gotta get this done, you gotta get that done.
Well, let me start with, I think the reason why I actually put this book together, and it's like translated, I think, into 18 different languages now. And there's Joy of Business facilitators all over the world. And for me, from 15, 16, I wanted to do two things. I wanted to change the world and I wanted to have a business. And everyone used to say to me, what business do you want? And I was like, I don't know yet. I got that you can change the world with business. Like you doing this podcast right now. This is a business and this is you being a part of changing the world and introducing something different. So for me also with business, it's not about getting a result. It's not about finding a solution. It's really about being in question. And it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to choose that, because you have to know when to pivot and that you are allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change something that you chose. I see a lot of people who choose something, as you've mentioned a couple of times now, with like that force and aggression of like, this is what we're doing, and and they sort of set this is what's going to create, we've got to find the right answer, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. And for me, it's like, well, you've just locked something in and you've just basically said to the universe, no thanks, I don't want all those possibilities that you've been getting ready for me, because there's a whole universe out there who's so, like, the universe is so desirous to contribute to us, and the second you go to answer, you basically stop the contribution. You be in question, you open up the door and doors and windows and everything to more contribution. So even starting with that question of like, what else is possible? What can I receive today that I wasn't willing to receive yesterday? What can my business receive today that it wasn't willing to receive yesterday? Like if we take out the rigidity and insert, I'm going to say, magic, miracles, and chaos. And I say chaos because most people avoid chaos, especially in business. Don't avoid it, embrace it. It's like chaos is change. And you mentioned one thing, Christian, about people are not being manipulated as much anymore. I think you can manipulate with gratitude. I think you can and manipulation doesn't have to be wrong. It's how it's done. Because if I'm super grateful for you and I start addressing how grateful I truly am for you and what you're creating in the world, and I start talking to you about something, that's a manipulation for me to invite you into something that I'm choosing as well. So it is manipulating, but it's from gratitude. It's from a different energy.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Just even re changing perspective on manipulation. There can be good manipulation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I mean, you manipulate all the time as a kid with your parents. It's like in relationship, it's like relationships are built on manipulation, really. It's like it's a twinkle in the eye, it's a tilt of the head, it's a, it can be a play as well.
yeah, I love that. And so, how can we as entrepreneurs live more in the question, right? Because I think it's easy, or well, not easy, but it's a good step to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
But it's how can we stay in that energy? I feel like it's so easy to ask it and then just like, okay, let me step back and read an email and poof, gone. Like how can we stay more in that container of,
Yeah, and it's a good question, and I think it's constant. It's not like ask a couple of questions in the morning and then go about my day. So even when you wake up, and as you mentioned, an entrepreneur, how many times people create their day based on their phone, like they pick up their phone in the morning or their however many platforms that you're working on. First, it's like the first thing I would always do, and I do this, so I'm lying in bed before I even get out, I acknowledge my body, I put my hands on my body somewhere and be like, hey, I'm, super grateful, whatever. I say hi to the earth. Where I live at home, I live across the road from the ocean. There's like waves crashing down, and you wake up and you can hear that, and it's awesome. There's different, I travel a lot, so there's different places. And just having that moment, whether it's literally 10 seconds or it's 5 minutes, to be grateful for everything that it is. And I know people throw that around a lot, like, oh, write your gratitude list, do this. It's actually true and real. If you actually wake up grateful, you will create something different, right? You'll open up a different door to something. And then when you go about your day and you've got all these different projects and all these different people that you're dealing with, etc., ask, where is my energy required? Is my energy required? Am I required with this project today? Because I have a lot of businesses and a lot of projects going on. And if I went, oh, it's Monday, this has got to occur, that's functioning from a structure. What I would say is you want to eliminate all the structures and start putting in some systems where the system is asking a question, and a system is something that is malleable and it's allowed to change. So sometimes if you look at a project and ask, okay, am I required with this today? Yes, no. Okay, if you get a yes, and it's like, all right, so what's required? How long? Like, do I need to call someone? And it's constant state of question. Relaxation is also a really big play in this. And I think a lot of us get so hyped up, and we will not let ourselves and our bodies and our businesses relax. And if you look at the energy of relaxation, it's an action. It's not a reaction. It's an action. When you start to relax and ask questions, you allow so much more to show up. And just practice, because if you've never been taught to ask a question, it's foreign, right? At school, you're taught to get the answer. Even with business, you're taught to, look for the result, the solution, the da 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 da. What if you flipped it? Flip the script. Let's change it. What if you never found an answer and you always were in question? And it's a muscle. You've got to train yourself to actually be in question. So I would say, I mean, gosh, if you get the Joy Business book, there's a billion questions in there, not a billion, but there's a lot. It's like start writing some questions down that you can play with. There's a business I worked with in New Zealand, and he sold white goods, fridges, stoves, etc. And he told all of his staff that every single time someone came in and didn't buy anything, 2 questions. Ask what else is possible and how does it get any better than this? And he said, every time someone buys something, I want you to ask those same 2 questions. Because if you look at the energy, someone comes in, they go, great, I made a sale. But you sort of have this like final thing to it rather than, wow, I made a sale. This is great. How does it get any better than this? And what else is possible? And then if you don't make a sale, instead of going to judgment and the wrongness, what else is possible? How does it get any better than this? You never know if that person's going to walk back in or tell someone about it. So we end the possibilities by not being in question.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's really important to train that muscle. It's a little bit like meditation, like just to return back to a point of like coming back to a little bit more to your center, and the question itself is just like coming back to a place of more open thinking, opening up the energy to okay, what else is other than me sitting here and answering emails and like like a robot trying to check off things of a to-do list. So
Well, and I think a key thing, because Christian, if you look at when you answer emails, those times that you're in the mood for it, you do it and you just go and you do it really well. And there's other times that you're like, so is that where your energy is required right now, or are you meant to go for a walk? What if we didn't function like we make time matter? What if time didn't matter? Like that 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I mean, that's pretty much eliminated now anyway. But what if you are one of those people who gets incredibly inspired at 10 p.m. at night? Then work. But maybe at 10 a.m. on Monday morning you're not. Then don't. Like, choose your reality.
And in your book, Joy of Business, you also, run people through a methodology. Like, can you speak to that?
You mean like the methodology of using access consciousness and the tools with access, like the processing?
In relation to business, yeah.
Okay. Well, all the tools in Joy Business are from Access Consciousness. And so I've been working with Access Consciousness for, I think, about 25 years now. And it changes all the time. And that's why I'm still here. I think if it was the same, I would be gone by now. I'd be bored. I get bored very quickly if something doesn't change. Like if there's not that, like, okay, what else? So part of the processing in Access Consciousness is what we call the clearing statement. And so if I asked you a question and I said to you, what does business mean to you? And something may pop. It may be a word, it may be an answer, or it may be something energetic, because there's a lot of the times we have an energetic point of view about something. And so if I ask you and all your listeners, what does business mean to you? And a lot of people have, it means working hard, it means this, it means that. And it's usually from something you've seen, how your parents were or how you grew up, etc. So you create this point of view around that. I mean, for me, my father, every time he went to work, he wore a suit and tie and he had a briefcase. And he went to work like 6 days a week, like really early, back late, right? That briefcase, as a kid, I thought, God, there must be something so important in that briefcase. Like I just looked at that and went, for me, business meant you have to have a briefcase. Like it's so stupid, but you pick up these points of view, right? I found out later on what was in that briefcase was my dad's sandwich, a piece of fruit, and the newspaper. But for me, like he never forgot his briefcase, but he never forgot his lunch, right? So if you go, what does business mean to you? And I ask you that question, it's like what shows up? It's like these points of view, these insane points of view, and the Access Consciousness clearing statement comes in, which is everything that is, like everything that brings up, destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, provads, creations, bases, and beyonds. And that clearing statement is all about going to that point of creation of where you had that point of view, right? And there's a whole thing on the clearing statement. If you want, you can go to theclearingstatement.com, and myself and Dr. Dain Heer, my colleague, we make some funny stories about it and we talk about it. There's a short, thing you can watch, or a longer one you can watch too. You can even, if you're listening to this and you forget it, just say POC and POD, okay? The point of creation, the point of destruction. Play with it. It changes the energy, and everything is energy. Even science says that. Like we literally should be able to put our hand through a wall because it's moving molecules. Everything is energy, and it's about changing the energy. So I asked, what does business mean to you? Now I ask another question. What does you in business mean to you? And it's got a different energy to it. And there's a lot of people who have already put themselves up for failure. They give it a shot, they try really hard, but they've already decided that they're going to fail. And if you look at this reality like educates you on how to fail. It doesn't educate you on how to succeed. Most people, when they fail, they've got a reference point to it. They've got, their family, friends are like, well, you gave it a try. When you succeed, a lot of the times people will project at you that you shouldn't have created that much that quickly or whatever that is, right? So we're not educated about how to succeed and be with that. So if I ask that question of what does it mean for you to be in business, and everything that brings up, please destroy and uncreate it, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 100, shorts, boys, perverts, creations, spaces, and beyonds. And what the clearing statement is designed to do is to change the energy so that you can start to have a look at what works for you. As an example, I did this with money because you mentioned right at the beginning, Christian, about how in debt I had created myself. And one of the first tools I did was I realized I didn't know what my point of view about money was. Like I would walk past somewhere and I go, oh, that's expensive or that's cheap. And I would say it and I'm like, is that my point of view or somebody else's? So I gave myself this home play and I walked into neighborhoods in shops. Like I walked into a Rolex shop. I went and tried really expensive shoes on. I walked past expensive restaurants and I also went to cheaper neighborhoods that I usually wouldn't go to. And every point of view that came up, I was like, POC and POD that point of view. And as I did it, I went, okay, if I was choosing my financial reality, what would I choose? Because I realized I wasn't giving myself this space to choose my reality with money. I was too busy choosing everybody else's point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so much work to be done also in form, so to say. Like it's a lot of energetic work, right? But going out in form, doing something to reform or reshape a certain belief because you've done something or you've experienced something, or like what I've done 2 years ago was like I was sitting in the Lamborghini that I thought I wanted, and I looked at it on the inside. I was like, this is feels kind of cheap, you know? Like I didn't like the inside. I loved
Yeah,
the outside and the shape and the sportiness, but then the inside I was like, no, I don't like.
yeah,
I don't feel royal in this car. It feels
yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
So, yeah, having these kind of experiences, I think, do so much for us as having them as an
So
experience.
can I ask you, what sort of car did you end up getting?
I ended up getting a Mercedes.
Okay, and do you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's about what you enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephen Bartlett from The Diary of a CEO, I love his podcast too. And he spoke about something similar. He said he always thought once he had the money to buy this Range Rover that he wanted, that everything would be fine. Everything would be great. And he got the money to buy this Range Rover and he was like, oh, this is not what it is. And it's like, it's not. It's like, you know what? Money doesn't make you a better person or doesn't make you. Can make your life easier, but you have to figure out what it is that you actually desire to create in life and what you want to choose, because that, like, you enjoy your Mercedes. You enjoy it. It's about that.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing that energy or car or whatever it is, like that situation resonates with you, right? I feel, tuning into that is what's at the end of the day with every decision that we make. It's like, does it
Yeah.
feel me? Does it feel light? Does it feel easy?
Yeah. Is it
All right.
congruent with what you'd like your life to be?
Yeah. So, and in your classes that you teach, I think maybe you even right now you're at a seminar, you said, in France. Are you teaching or taking a seminar?
I am teaching a seminar. It's called Choice for Possibilities, which is one of the more advanced classes. You have to have done a couple of the Access Consciousness classes before you get there. But yeah, that's what I'm doing starting this weekend in Annecy, France.
Okay. What do people learn there? Like say a little bit
Choice for
more.
Possibilities. Okay, so you get a manual, and the thing is, Christian, it depends who comes to class because we have 3 days together. by this time, you've done bars, which is one of the first classes in Access Consciousness. And bars is this hands-on process. It's like 32 different points on your head that get touched. That exactly what I was saying before. It's like when you start to eliminate the points of view that you have around certain areas, like money, control, body, sexuality, healing, sadness, joy, aging, all of these different things. And so when you have someone run your bars, it's like getting a computer and just pressing delete, 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 and you delete all of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you have about something, for me, so that you have this blank slate and you can actually be in question, as we spoke about before. Does this actually work for me? What is my point of view around this? Because the human race judges a lot. It's like, what if we came out of judgment? Like, what if there was no judgment and there was choice? And for me, that's a lot of what Access Consciousness is about. So you have the bars class, and then you have the next class, which is called Foundation. And Foundation is literally like it says. You get a manual too. It's 3.5 days, and it covers every topic. Like, because most people think they have a problem with something. The top, I guess, themes that people think they have a problem with is money, business, relationships, family, their body, these things. And what if you didn't? What if there was never a problem? There was nothing to fix. You just had to choose something different. And we run a lot of the clearings and et cetera like that on all of that. And so by the time you get to Choice for Possibilities, you've done these classes, and I guess it's like going even more beyond that. So it's like, what is it that you would like to choose? What is it you'd like to change? Let's get there. Let's explore that. But it is through the clearing statement and processes, etc. Like, Access is weird and wacky, and man, it works. My whole life has completely changed in every area, and it keeps changing. Like, it really does. I'm so grateful. I have a lot of gratitude for Gary Douglas, who's the founder of Access, and Dr. Dain Heer, who is the co-creator. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And what's a fun story? Maybe we can explore that castle story in Italy. Like, how did that come about?
Well, it's funny because Gary Douglas, actually the founder of Access, we were in Europe one day, and he was talking about it and said he'd like to own a castle one day. Like, he's like, I'd like to have, but this is how things work, right? He's like, I'd like to own a castle. And one of our clients in Italy, she's like, hey, she knows everybody. Like, I know her for a long time now, and she knows everybody. And I know of this castle. It's about 2 hours outside of Milan, and nobody's lived in it for 40 years. So we went there to check it out. And this is so typical. Like, we walked in, I was like, oh my God, it's a mess. Like, there was just stuff everywhere. There was a most amazing, big, beautiful chandelier in this ballroom. And you could see, like, because the walls had been painted and the pictures, and it was incredible, but they were all faded and falling off. And, the floor was falling apart, the roof, everything. I'm not very good with seeing renovations. My ex will tell you that. I'm more like, I know what I like when I see it. And Gary walked in and went, wow. And he saw the whole thing as it is today. So there's about 8 of us who decided to all chip in and purchase this castle and refurbish it. And we paid some amazing Italian artists to restore the walls and the ceiling. Like, it's incredible. The ballroom is huge, and the acoustics in it are incredible. Like, we've had some opera singers in there, etc. So now it's a castle, Castle Borgoni, Castello di Castle Borgoni, that you can go to. It's got 14 rooms available that you can rent, a big ballroom. It's got a fabulous restaurant there. But it's now a castle.
Is it open to the public, or it's just used for like private?
No, it's open to the public. No.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's open to the public for the restaurant and also for accommodation. And every room is different, which I love that. Every single room is so different. I mean, they've got all these different names, and the doors are different. And we tried to keep as much as possible how it was, which, again, I'm the one that just went, it's a mess, and Gary and a lot of the others went, no, I see how this can be. And we created that. Like,
that's amazing. I love that. I think the castle itself is such a great example of what's possible, like of access, of like everything. Like
Yeah.
just like how random, how weird, how wacky, how amazing, how cool, how magical it is, you know? Like,
Well, also, to me, it's like business is an ecosystem. Like we are a part of an ecosystem, and I don't think we acknowledge that enough. Like every choice we make creates a different future. Every choice we make has like a ripple effect out there. And if you look at the town where the castle is, told you, no one had lived in it for 40 years. So the town itself had became really quiet. Now, some people might like that and some might not. And when we first moved there was a lot of people who were a bit like, who are these people, these foreigners coming in and buying this castle, you know? So what we did was we had this press conference one day at the local pizza place, and we bought pizza and beer for everyone and all the owners. We sat there and we had this open house interview sort of thing of like, hey, this is what we told them. This is what we want to do. This is what we're putting together. And all the locals came and they asked us questions. And it was so beautiful, Christian, to see the change in them. There was this one woman who stood up. She was in her early 90s. And she told this story. I mean, I speak a little bit of Italian, but not a lot. And so it was translated. And she told this story about as a little girl, her job and her local farm was when they milked the cows, she would have to carry milk up to the castle. And she would carry the milk up to the castle. And that was her job as a little girl that she would have to do and her contribution. And so for her, this was coming alive again. And the way she spoke, and the whole room was just silent as she spoke, and about how it was bringing back all these memories and how grateful she was that the castle was going to be this thriving, living entity again. And you're like, yeah, okay. And there's moments like that that you go, that's why I'm doing this, you know?
wow. Yeah, again, it's like oftentimes when we experience these energetic shifts on the outside too, when we get reflected that back, you're like, wow, this is what we're doing. I forgot
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. And what's been, from your experience, because you've been with Access for so long, like what would you say is the most significant evolution and expansion of Access over the last 21 years? Like what's been created now, I guess, that wasn't conceived back then?
You know, so many things. And I want to talk about then the actual growth of the business, because when I came along, we were in 4 countries, and it was America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So they're all English speaking countries, right? And I was a big part of the growth in Australia. And then Gary said to me, we need someone like you, in America. And I said, well, what do you need? And he was like this, and this. And I was like, I can do that. I can do that from here, And so I actually started living in California part-time and in Australia. But it was the opening up of the business to something different. So if you look at a business and you went, okay, how are we going to grow? How are we going to access the world? It's an English-speaking business. The next thing you would do is probably hit other English-speaking countries, and we didn't. I used to like lie in bed and ask questions of the whole entire world and go, okay, who do I have to talk to? Where do we have to go? Like, how do we open up this so that people around the whole entire world have access to access consciousness? Because one of my early demands was every single person in the world should know this exists. They don't have to choose it. I get that. Access is not for everyone. That's okay. But I want them to know that it's available so they could choose it. Because for me, Christian, I was definitely heading down a road of destruction. I took a lot of drugs. I did a lot of things. I was trying to find something different, when I came across Access. And when I came across Access, I went, oh, this is what I've been looking for, So for me, it gave me a lot of freedom. And I'm not so sure I'd be here now. I definitely wouldn't have a smile on my face. I don't know. Like I like people to have that choice. So I kept asking, okay, who do I have to talk to? Where do I have to go? And the next 2 countries that we started Access in was Korea, South Korea, and Italy. So if you put that in a business and gone, right, what's our plan? We're going to do this. That wouldn't have shown up. But it just happened. It was people I was talking to and they were like, oh, okay, this. And then when we opened up in South Korea, there was a lot of expats, and those expats knew people outside of that, and that's how we got to Italy and the growth of it. So I would really like to invite people who have a business, for one, not to make your business, don't define it by its geographical region, like where you are, and also don't define it by language. Because we just started opening up to languages all the time. Nearly every class I do now is translated in, I'd say, at least between 5 to 15 languages. And there is a growth out there for every business if you're willing to be in question and just sit with it and go, okay, show me universe, where. So I'd say the actual growth of Access was so astonishing to me about how we went about that.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah, again, same. Just living in the magic, in the unexpected, in a way. I want to talk a little bit about your creations. So your podcast, your books, your programs. Like, tell us a little bit about that. You have a podcast. It's called Choice, Change, and Action. Um, eh, Not sure. Yeah, feel free to maybe tell us a word or two about that, and then tell us what you do. Like, Simone, like, what else do you offer? What else do you?
So I have a podcast, as you mentioned, Choice, Change, and Action, and I've got an episode every week, and it changes a lot. But I mainly talk about access tools and different scenarios. Every now and then I have somebody else on, but the whole idea is choose, change, take some action. Because I hear a lot of people go, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. You know what? You got to get up in the morning, go take some action. Like, what do you want to create? Okay. So it's a lot about that, but it's a weekly podcast. I do classes all over the world. I travel probably 8-9 months of the year. And I am looking at that and going, okay, I enjoy it, and I also enjoy being at home. And we've got a property called El Lugar in Costa Rica, which I love spending months on end there because I have horses there. I have a membership that's called the Profit Club. Most people think profit is about the money you have left over after you pay the bills. What if it's not? What if it's something different? What if the profit is also that you get to wake up and be happy? Like, what if there's a profitability in how you choose to live? So we cover a whole lot of different topics, but that's like $28 a month. There's a Telegram thread, you get some different things, etc. You get 2 calls with me. So I have that. Yeah, and then I've got 3 books that I've written. First one was Joy Business. Second one was Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. The third one I wrote is called Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? And I wrote that with my ex, and that was pretty funny because as we launched it in the US, we had all these interviews and everything. We broke up. And my PR agent nearly had a heart attack, but we were like, don't worry about it. This is the whole book is about being in question. Like, relationship should be a choice, not a necessity. So that's why we wrote that book, and there's a whole lot of really funny, vulnerable tools in there as well. So, and I'm working on a book about the earth at the moment and your communion with the earth. And like I said before, we are a part of this ecosystem, and people keep walking upon it like we're observing it. We've got to get that we're so intricately weaved into this ecosystem, and what are we going to choose? So, and that's in business, and that's in everything. And I'm working on another business book at the moment as well. So lots going on.
Wow. Love it. Yeah. So creative as you are, as everyone can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to say the word should, but yeah, it's everyone's choice at the end of the day, So, and what else is exciting you at the moment? Like, when I ask you that question, what comes up? What's exciting you?
I want to say being brutally honest with myself, because there's a few things that I'm changing. Like you mentioned right at the beginning, it's like I was in debt. I was in huge amounts of debt. I got out of debt. I used the access tools, got out of debt, have money, made investments, did all of that. I did everything that I'd say this reality would go, did a good job. I own my house, I've got real estate, I've got commercial investments, I've got stock portfolio, I've got all this stuff. And about 2 years ago, Christian, I sort of went, is this actually congruent and working for me with what I want my life to be? So I'm 56 and I started to look at, what do I want my lifestyle to be, as well as being a major player in how we can be in the world, you know? So I think that's what's exciting me. And I'm letting that unravel as it unravels. And I'm literally have sold a few investments to invest in some different things like Elugar, the property, and invest in more horses. I don't know if horses are investment because they cost you a lot of money, but it matches an energy for me. Even looking at maybe buying a property in the Mediterranean, because I like being in the Mediterranean as well. So for me, it's like, I think what's exciting is looking at not assuming that how I lived was correct for me. It's like, what next? Like, what else? Like, let's explore. Like, you know, you always hear those stories about people on their, you go, oh, people on your deathbed, what do you wish you did? You don't wish for more things. Do you wish
Yeah.
you chose more? You
Mhm.
know, what could you be? So I'm really looking at, what can I be for me and the planet, and what does that look like, and have a hell of a lot of fun doing it, you know? Yeah.
I love that. I used to say when I was in my early 20s, um, which is funny because I never saw that quote anywhere. So it really felt like it was like kind of something that came out of my experience. Like
Mm.
logic doesn't produce magic.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's true.
you're doing all the right things and you have the house and you have the car and you have the
Yeah.
investment, blah, 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 blah. But like now it's like, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a great space to be in.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Like feels very true, feels very open, feels very, yeah, feels wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring on the magic, miracles, and chaos.
Mhm.
Let's go. Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our, podcast episode. And as last question, I just wanted to um, ask, what do you want to leave with the audience if they just take one thing away from this episode?
Choose whatever makes you happy.
Bingo!
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Great. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your time, sharing your heart, sharing your wisdom, and your joy with us. Let us know where people can find you. We're also going to link it in the show notes. But yeah, where would you like to send people to?
Well, you can Google my name. I think there's no other Simone Milasas. It's Milasas. That's my Instagram, Facebook, website, everything. So yeah, I think I have a good name for it. So
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much. It's been an honor. Keep spreading your joy and sharing your light with the world, and also allow to receive and make the just
yeah,
bring the fun into your life that you also, want to have. Feels like you are in that season of your life where you're just like, I've done all the things and it was fun. It was great. It was like, now I'm just like, shh.
yeah, yeah. What else is possible? Dear universe, what else is possible? Christian, can I just say thank you to you? You are a really cool being. Like, there's an energy about you that's just really like kind. And thank you. Thank you for you choosing what you're choosing, and thank you for being in the world.
Yeah. Thank you as well. Thanks for, seeing that. Two central things in my life is, pretty much, it's very funny because like I've made the things that I love my business,
Yeah.
right? I have an agencies who I love Pixel,
Yeah.
right? And we make love tangible in the digital space, like mainly branding, website, funnel, that kind of work.
Hmm.
And then the second business I have is a tea company. It's called
Right.
One with Tea.
Ah, I love it.
So central words is love and tea in my life
Yeah.
very much. Like tea brings in me in that space of just like back
Yeah.
to my center.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh, I
Um,
love it. That's great. Congratulations. And what else is possible?
and what else is possible? Yeah, what I love about tea, last thing, I'll let you go, is like I can take it anywhere. It always brings me joy. You know,
Yes.
I have it at a seminar, I have it at a workshop. It's the best.
You
So
know, I get my tea from Brazil, which is crazy, but I
is
love the
it
tea in
is
Brazil.
it
Yeah.
about money or what is it?
Uh, I don't know it's all in it's all in Portuguese, but and because a lot of the Brazilians know now, and it's like they've got like six different types. Like, so one's got, I don't like green tea straight up, So one's got like green tea with mixed with a whole bunch of things, and then there's a nighttime tea, and then there's other ones that have like this fruit thing. But yeah, they always, I love it.
I love it.
My body
Well,
likes it. Hmm.
there you go. And that is the foundation.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Simone.
Thank you.
It's been a joy having you on. And yeah, maybe our paths cross soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Christian. Bye.
Bye bye.